Welcome back to Goliath. My name is Chris Gamble. Today we're going to be going over this little thing right here. This is the Thingy91. It is a development platform from Nordic Semiconductor. You can buy it on your favorite distributor right now. It has the NRF9160 on it, which is a cellular modem. And it also has things like sensors, a battery, it has a case. This is actually flipped upside down right now, just so it's not clear. This is what it normally looks like, but we're going to be interacting with this thing. So this is what the inside of it looks like. It also has a NRF52840 on there, which is a Bluetooth chip that they also make, which we use for things like Thread. That's actually just used as a USB pass-through in all of the examples here. The reason we're talking about this today, though, is because we're not going to write any code. Actually, Goliath, we have written code, but you don't have to write code. This is a little bit different for us. We're trying out a pre-compiled binary that you can go and download and install onto a platform like the Thingy91. The reason we're doing this is because we want people to be able to try out Goliath without having to compile any code, without having to learn Zephyr, which we love. We love Zephyr around here, and the NRF Connect SDK that's built on top of Zephyr. These are really powerful tools, but not necessarily easy tools if you just want to try out Goliath. So instead, we went and we built an image for you. You can go and download it. We have directions on how to actually get it installed onto your device here. And then once you have that, you can go and try out Goliath all on its own, right? You can see all the things that we do. We're also going to do that in this video. So if you were wondering what we're doing here, that's what we're doing here today. So let's go take a look at what it looks like when you actually go and connect to the Goliath platform. This is showing the settings view right now, but let's actually start on the summary page. So this is the device. I have two different devices in my Goliath console view for this project. So my project's called Thingy91 Goliath. I have two Thingy91s in here, mine and my coworker's Mike's. And we could see a couple things already here. We could see this thing is online a few seconds ago. This thing is live connecting here. Let's see if that's me. Here we go. There's my Thingy91. And what we want to see here is all of the things going on with this Thingy91. We can also see this is on firmware version 1.0.0. We can see that it was created. The connection status was a couple seconds ago, but it's actually been online for a while now. It's also created 25 days ago. In terms of the credentials, so the things that I actually programmed onto this device, and something that you will do if you program onto your device is you'll install the binary. Again, we'll have directions for all this, but you'll install the binary, you'll connect a USB cable to this, there will be a UART terminal, and then you'll go and put in your PSK ID, which is like a username, and then your password, PSK. And those two things will basically get you validated onto the Goliath network, onto your project. So if you go and create a new project for yourself right now, and you create your first device, you will also get a unique PSK ID and PSK that you can go and program onto your Thingy91. Over here we see the update. This is kind of just a monitor of your firmware, what we're at, and if we have a different target here. So if you're in the middle of updating a new firmware release, that is something you can actually do with this binary package. We also have two different firmware versions, so you can try out OTA right now. Another thing you can see here is that we actually have a counter going. So this is LakeDB State is one of our database solutions. And we just are counting down and counting up, really simple here. But every time you see this light flashing here, that actually means that it's in the middle of a reading cycle. It's also updating its counter. I can actually trigger a reading by hitting the button here. It also triggers a beep. You see it's kind of speeding up the counter there. And so this is basically just a live view of a counter that's happening on this device. This is a two-way communication mechanism, like DB State here, and we can actually go. So we could actually directly change this value if we wanted to, but you really don't want to do that because you might kind of change something when it's in flight. So instead, we have this paradigm where we go and we send a request. So say we wanted to change the value and change where the counter is. I got to turn on my number lock here. We change the value here, we hit submit. We should see when this goes back to -1, it means that it's been updated, and you see down here it's already started counting down again. There we go. So it flipped back real quick there, but we should see now it's counted down. It continues to count down when we hit the button here. Another thing that's happening when we see this thing flashing and when we're hitting the beep button is it's actually taking a sensor reading. And so we can see here that every time that we hit the beep, that it actually is going through and sending back this packet that has accelerometer data, it has late data, and it has weather data. These three sensors are on the Thingy91, and every time we go through the loop, basically we're taking a reading here. Hitting the button actually triggers it to go through the loop a little bit sooner. We have a configurable loop delay as well. And all of these sensors are in the Zephyr tree, so it was really easy to hook this stuff up. But again, you don't have to do this because this is a pre-compiled binary. Another thing that we have in here is the logging capabilities. So not only are we sending back actual formatted data that the Golioth Cloud can understand and pass out to other things. We actually have just simple logging text strings here. So we have debugging messages that we're also sending through. We also see things like resending requests. So the Golioth SDK, this part of my desk is actually not super great for connectivity. And so when there's a problem with the cellular network and it's not getting it through, you want to make sure that packet's still making it through. Underneath the hood, the Golioth SDK is actually doing resetting and actually sending messages saying, hey, actually, I had to retry this co-op message. You don't have to do anything about it, but I just want you to know that there has been a resend tried here. And that's really useful for making sure your device, your messages are getting to the cloud. You want to have some kind of handling there so you don't have to do that yourself. So you see there's other messages coming through here. Finally, I mentioned, I mentioned there's also some settings here. So there's multiple ways that you can go and interact with the settings for your devices. These are all set by me. I actually created these variables here, and then I assigned either a string, an int, float, or a bool, and you can go and pass that down to your devices. So this is a cloud to device capability. And I can go and change this. So you see right now, all of these settings, the bottom 4 settings are set on a project-wide basis, but I went and overrode the setting for the loop delay. I said, actually, I want this thing to be updating every 5 seconds, is why you see this thing flashing every 5 seconds here. So I can go and change that, but I think an easier thing is just let's go and turn up the red here. Number lock, there we go. So we're gonna do that. We should see this, I got a little more purple, a little hard to see here. Let's go and turn down, let's just make this red, nice and easy to see here. So we'll go and turn this off, and we'll turn this off. There we go. And now we see that this thing is all red because we went and changed the intensity just to only have red here. We can also change things like the fade time, and we can change this to 500 milliseconds, and you can see it starts flashing a little bit faster here. What we can also see though is we should see that we have some logs coming through here that show that we've received different settings. And so we see that we receive new settings here each time, and we check against local values as well. This sort of thing is really useful just to make sure that we're getting stuff here. So again, logging is a device to cloud capability. Settings is a cloud to device capability. And another cloud to device capability, we also checked whether or not we're in sync for the device itself. And finally, remote procedure call is another cloud to device capability, but a little bit different in that this device has a more complex capability that it handles when we actually send a request through to it. So remote procedure call is basically saying, hey, I want this device to do something interesting, but I'm going to send it some variables to do that. And so we're going to do that just here. I created some songs here, so we could do things like the Golioth tune, which I created just for this. That's also what it does when it boots up. We can make it beep. Really simple there. We could play some more jaunty tunes like Funky Town. And finally, we can play the old classic here, play Mario. Got to play it all the way through. Got to pay your respects to the original, the OG game there. So all of this stuff is available as a binary, right? So this is something I've been saying here. So you can go and download this right now and try out all the same stuff out. What you'll need to do is you'll download the binary, program it on your device, and then create a Golioth account, put your credentials onto this device through the USB port, and then you'll be able to do all the things that you just saw here and more. Another thing that I mentioned is that, you won't be able to see this with my face in the way. Another thing I mentioned here is there are also firmware images that you can go and also include, and that's actually what I have uploaded here as well. So within the package that you can download on GitHub, there's a 1.00 and a 1.01. So you can go and upload these artifacts, and then you can upload, or then you can create releases here. You see, I've actually I've rolled back the 1.0.1 device firmware, but I could go and roll that out right now. You can do the same thing. So we will continue to have kind of these incremental builds as if we rev this firmware in the future. Other things that you can go and do here as well, you can go and create an API key. You can do output streams, so export your data to something like AWS or Azure or Google Cloud. Lots of different things here. That also has webhooks as a generic thing. Certificates are for when you want to go to production. You have more, you want a higher level of security there, and if you want to add other people to your project. I mentioned API keys. You can also do things like this. We have a Grafana dashboard here. So this is basically just querying what you just saw. Let me make this a little bigger here. So you're querying basically what is on the Golioth cloud This is querying every 5 seconds as well. And so we can, again, I can go and take different readings here. I'm going to move the, I'm going to flip the device over and take some different readings. You should see when this updates the Grafana dashboard here, you see now that we have different X and Y readings because this thing has been, it's been flipped over basically, and it has different detections of gravity. And so we can see all this stuff happening through here. We also see that we have the local device settings. We were able to pull that through as well. All we're doing is querying the REST API for Golioth, and we're able to pull that through to this Grafana dashboard. Finally, let's go and look at the actual repository. This is now public, so if you want to, you can go and build this yourself. We have directions on how to go and build this yourself. This is actually based off the template that we use for our reference designs, which we think is a really great way to build some Zephyr projects. It also splits out how we interact with the various Golioth services. You see we have different things for settings, state, app work is also where we do our LightDB stream stuff. And so we think this is a great way to go and probe and try out different parts of the Golioth SDK and the Golioth console. We also see we have DFU included here so that we always want to make sure we have the ability to go and do a firmware update. If we go back here though, if we go back to the actual repo, you can see we have a release under tags, and we should be able to go in here. And in here we have those incremental updates. We have 1.0.0, 1.0.1, and we also have a PDF on how to program it and the initial one. So you're going to actually program the initial hex file, and then you're going to use the binary files, the .bins, on the Golioth cloud because these are incremental updates. So this is going to have the bootloader and everything in it. You see this is a little bit bigger here. This is what you're going to program over the UART bootloader, and then you're going to only use the updates on the Golioth cloud. And we have explanations on how to do all this sort of stuff here. So we'll have links for this in the YouTube comments on our blog post that's going out today, and you can always, of course, ask us questions as well. So we think this is a great way to go and try out the Thingy91, to try out Golioth, to try out Zephyr. Maybe you're new to Zephyr and you haven't tried Zephyr before. You could try the binary, understand some of the stuff that's actually happening, and then go dig into the code. Again, we think that the code, kind of the format that we have set up here, is a great way to try out a lot of different Golioth functions, to split out kind of logically split out where you're putting all this stuff for your Golioth functions. We love pull requests. We love hearing from you. We have a forum where you can go and discuss this sort of thing. So we'd love to hear from you over there as well. You can, again, there's an associated link in the YouTube video and the blog post with this. So if you have any questions, please let us know. We're looking forward to hearing what you do with this code, with this binary, and with the Golioth platform. Thanks for watching.